Hello. So today I just wanted to talk about an idea that popped in my head when I was watching a YouTube video the other day that I found fascinating. My wife is trying to build a roof garden right now, and one of the main things that she has to figure out is how to make compost, to have fertilized soil basically, and to have a constant supply of it in order to grow seeds and vegetables and herbs and whatnot. And we were watching a video the other day about this guy in New Jersey that grows his garden in a sustainable way, which is the whole point. And he uses worms as a way to produce fertilized soil, meaning that in a container he has worms in soil, and then he puts the food scraps that he produces there, and the worms eat it, and then they digest it, I guess, and they produce the nutrients that fertilize the soil. And a single thing that he said popped in my head, and I kind of tuned out because I had this, I don't know how to call it, but this moment where he basically said something along the lines of, and if you do this correctly, then the worms will be more than happy to work for you. And I just thought about, wait a minute, this is an organism, of course, but in that moment I thought about it, what if this was a technology? What if this was like a small metal thing that had been devised and produced and created and designed by a company that basically did that? We would be applauding and cheering because of the creation, this novel creation that fixes a big percentage of the sustainability problem because of our consumption of food and the pollution that it creates. And I kind of like went from there to the trees and how they absorb CO2 and produce oxygen, and the fact that if it was like a metal tower or something like that, and we were producing them and putting them all over a city, we would feel so accomplished as a species for having built something that does that process when it's already there, available to us, and it grows by itself, and it's provided by nature. And that took me to thinking about, why do we do that? Why don't we appreciate nature? Why do we put it down? And as far as I can see it, there's this myth that we're currently running on that's called the fully automatic model. And the basic idea is that existence, reality, nature is just a blind mathematical process of probability and chance, that there is no intelligence behind it, that there's no consciousness behind it, and that we are just this fluke that appeared in this process, but that we're really not, either we're not really conscious, which seems counterintuitive, of course, or that we're the only conscious thing in an unintelligent and blind universe. So we're alienated from nature, and that's what I got out of the whole thing. It's like, we're really alienated from nature because we're surrounded by it for the most part, and we don't see it for what it is. So what happened was that when I thought, what if nature was technology? And I realized, Jesus Christ, we're living in a global machine that produces like perpetual homeostatic balance, and has different aspects for everything it needs, and has specific creatures for a specific purpose. And when that creature doesn't have a purpose anymore, it's repurposed for something else. And for me, it was just an impressive kind of like, I guess, eureka moment, right? For some of you, it might be the most obvious thing, but for me, it was like, holy crap. If we could think about nature in the same way that we think of technology, with that pride or with that closeness, with that sensation that it is part of who we are, then we would be appreciating things as insignificant as worms way more. We would be fascinated by what they do. Or bees, for example, how they pollinate the whole fucking thing. And I remember once I was hearing a guy talk, and he asked everybody, what is the closest thing about nature that is surrounding you right now? We were in a park and everybody was looking, and the guy said, "Wait, you are." And everybody laughed, and I laughed, because it's just like, yeah, we never think about ourselves as nature. We think about something that is kind of like outside of it, that has to deal with it, but is not an integral part. And I guess that's maybe what we should be doing, or what I want to do. It's like re-understand, or repurpose, or reconcile myself with nature. Because the ideas that are in my head tend to push me away from it, or to alienate me from it. It makes me feel as if it's just a thing that's there, that it doesn't have magic, that it doesn't have consciousness, that it doesn't have an intent behind it. And I think it's in the opposite. And I think that's why we tend to value technology so much. It's the one thing that has been created by something conscious, right? That's why it has value. But what if, and there's a completely different conversation about this, but what if reality is conscious? What if the way that we perceive ourselves can be extended in one way to reality itself, and that it makes us appreciate it as an entire system that grows rather than being built? So yeah, that's it. I just find it fascinating. See you next time.